One, not surprised, but a lot of thoughts came into mind. This was productive, insulting,
Okay. So let's see who else has come in. Julie, you here?
Yes, good morning.
Hey, good to see you.
Thank you. Good seeing you. Happy to be here.
Glad you're here. Let's see, Marilyn, good morning. And William, you here? People probably still getting their microphones working, but if you can hear me when I call your name, just say hi so I know that your mic is working. Hi, Lois, can you hear me?
That you're reading that you distance from. These are family members. These are lost generations of lives. I think it doesn't surprise me, as Joy mentioned, that this is a woman that did describe like a scientific event as space lasers. So coming from her is not shocking. It doesn't make it less offensive. I think it also reminds us of two very important things: the importance of education. I know she knows better, but continue to educate people on the atrocities of our history, because otherwise they come back again. And that includes slavery in this country, and giving it in ample time when we teach young people, and also make sure we hold people accountable for rewriting history like on January 6th.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started getting things ready for the class. We usually give 4 or 5 minutes for everybody to come in and get their technology working. And so we got one other thing here I need to get done before I can do that. So let me see who else has come in the meantime. Helen, I'm probably get your name wrong. Helen Gordzinski. So you've joined us. Good morning. And Gladys, looks like you're here.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you as well. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And looks like Gerald is coming in as well. Okay, so just about ready to get started here. We've got a couple of things we're trying to get set up and working. We're having a Lois is coming in. Give just a second, let her get in. Oh, and see, Billy's here. Hi, Billy, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, now we're ready. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get things started here. Let me just quickly move your pictures over to my second monitor so I can see you over here. And I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone, and we'll probably have to mute everyone several times during the course of the class if we start to pick up background noise or echoes or anything like that. So just remember to check and see if you are muted and unmute yourself when you're ready to ask a question or make a comment. I've also opened up the chat, so if anyone is having trouble with your microphone or just needs to contact us via the chat for any reasons, it is now open and available. Anthony from our TA group is here to help me monitor the chat and manage the class. Thanks for joining us, Anthony.
You're welcome.
And okay. All right, so let's get started. I think that's got everything squared away. So this is iPhone Basics. I do want to welcome everyone to the class. Thanks for joining us. My name is Wade Yarber, and I'll be your guide. A bit about my background. I'm from a small farming community called Mason, Tennessee, just outside of Memphis. I have my degree in experimental psychology and have taught psychology several places, but most of my career was designing, installing, and training users how to use hospital information systems. And what I love about Get Set Up is I get to teach people that are in the class because you want to be in the class, not because you have to be, which is what we try to do, is to set up an environment where you can interact with each other and with the guide. We are recording the session, and anyone in the class can request a copy of that by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. I'm going to put that in the chat in case you don't already have that. If you don't, copy and paste that into your email contacts. We're also live streaming the class, so I do want to welcome anyone joining us by live stream. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the class as well. But I do want to stress that the only way to interact with the other learners and ask questions of the guide is to go to our website and register for the class. And finally, Get Set Up is not paid to promote any of the products we train on. So the agenda for today is to first show you how to find your phone's model and iOS version. iOS is iPhone operating system. You'll understand how several ways to silence your phone's ringer, which is always important. Know how to navigate to and use the various screens, some of which you know about, some you probably don't know about. And we'll spend a good bit of the class talking about how to manage apps, how to install and manage widgets, and how to use the app library if you're not familiar with those terms. So let's get started. And the first thing we want to talk about is how to help you know about your phone. And so we're going to go into the settings. If anybody's having trouble seeing my phone, if there's pictures blocking my phone here, let us know. We can help you move those pictures around. But you're looking for this settings icon. It should be on your home screen. It's probably not down here where mine is. I'll show you later how you could put yours down there. But go ahead and click settings as soon as you find it. And we're going to go to general. And it's in the third group of options. First one right here. And we're going to go to the first option, which is about. So let me know if you're having trouble getting here. And let me go over what is here. If some of you are still trying to get here, you can take a look at my phone. But so the first is the name of your phone. It probably just says iPhone. If you want to give it a better name, you can just touch that name line and it'll give you the option to change the name of your phone. I call mine Wade's iPhone. My wife also has an iPhone, so that way we can tell them apart. Software version is important. This will show you the current software version you have. Does anyone have a software version lower than 14.0? If you do, there's some things we'll be showing today that you will not be able to see.
I do.
Okay. So if you're below 14, we'll see if you can upgrade, but even if you can upgrade, we don't want to do it during class. So there's a few things that you'll just have to watch on my screen. I'll try and call those out for things that you have to have 14 or higher. The next important thing to note is your phone model, because some of the things are going to look different depending on which model phone you have. I have an iPhone 8. That's kind of the break point. iPhone 8 and older tend to work one way, newer than 8 work differently. So I'll point those out as we're going through too, but just make sure to note what phone you currently have so you'll know when I'm letting you know how they work. And then there's additional information like your model number and even the serial number of your specific phone. Okay, we're going to touch general and go back out one level. So you should be back on a screen that looks like this. And we're going to click the second option, software update. Oops. Mine says I'm on 14.5.1, which is the most current version. Yours may look something more like this, where it says that there is an update available, and it'll tell you what the update is. And you'll have the option down here to download and install. If you have one to install, don't do it now, because sometimes the install, they have to turn your phone on and off a couple of times. But after class, you probably want to go ahead and upgrade to the most current release. On the person that didn't have iOS 14, if you're on an iPhone 6 or older, then it is not supported. You can't upgrade. If you're on a 6S or higher, then you should have an option to upgrade to that current release 14.5.1. But again, don't do it during class. Now, also on this screen is automatic updates. And if you click that, it gives you two options: automatically download iOS updates and automatically install iOS updates. As you can see, I have those both turned on, so I let Apple go ahead and install those updates automatically. I don't have to do it manually. Apple gives you the choice. If you're reluctant to have it update automatically, you can turn this off, which means you'll have to select that download and install option yourself. Questions about anything in this about your phone section? Is everybody able to find that? Okay.
Yes, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes, when it come up to update your phone, they will recommend, I see it online when it says you shouldn't update, blah, blah, blah. Should you always update when they tell you to?
Yes, would be my advice, because most of the time, in fact, here's one that you're talking about, and it almost has bug fixes. So
yes.
They're fixing problems, and it typically has security content's been improved. So they're getting rid of bugs and they're making your phone more secure.
Right.
Now, some people, especially when you're upgrading, this first number is really what level it is. Like going from 13 to 14 is a big jump. Some people don't want to be the first ones to get a new level. So when it goes to 15.0,
okay,
there's some wisdom to holding off and waiting a few weeks just to see if there's any bugs in that new release. With the dot releases, and especially the dot releases, I just let it automatically update.
Okay.
It shouldn't be more than 2 or 3 weeks behind, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you for that, because I see those, they'll pop up and say you shouldn't update, blah blah blah, this, blah blah blah, that. Usually I do update.
Yeah, and usually that's if like when a release just came out and there was a bug in it. So they're saying hold off and give Apple a chance to fix the bug, which is why for a major release, waiting a couple of weeks to install it is probably not a bad idea.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. So let's move on. We're going to talk about some physical features. Well, one physical feature of your phone. I'm assuming you know how to turn your phone on and use the volume buttons. There's one button you may not have noticed or paid attention to. It's on the upper left as you're looking at your phone. It's really an indentation. It's called the ringer on-off button. It's not really a button. It's more of a switch, I would call it. You have to take your fingernail or something to put in there to turn that on and off. Look at my screen. Watch my screen. I'm going to flip mine. And when I flip it down, it says silent mode is on. And when I flip it back up, it says silent mode is off. So that silent mode means that your phone is not going to ring when you get a phone call. It's not going to ding when you get a notification. So it's for if you're going into a meeting, a church service, a get set up class, you can turn your phones off. I think there's a better way to do it, and I'm going to show you what I think is the better way to do it. but you need to know about the switch because this has happened to me twice. It just happened to my wife 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden calls were coming in and her phone wasn't ringing. This switch had gotten flipped by accident in her purse somehow. So we flipped that back up and it started working again. So if you're ever not getting a ring when calls come in, this is the likely culprit. Another tip and trick while we're here, if you forget to silence your ringer and you are in a meeting and your phone starts ringing, touch the volume button, either one, up volume or down volume. They'll do the same thing. It will stop the ringer immediately. The caller will still hear it ring. They'll go to voicemail. So you can still get a message from that person, but it will stop the ringer. Handy trick to know about. Okay, let's move on if there's no questions about that one. And again, if you have questions or comments, just unmute and go ahead and ask your questions. We're going to look at something called Do Not Disturb. I think this is the better way to control your ringer and your notifications. So we're going to go back into settings over here. And I'll go to the top, but it's in the second group of commands next to the last. It has the quarter moon. We're going to see that quarter moon several more times, but that's Do Not Disturb. I'm going to go into Do Not Disturb. There's a lot of things under Do Not Disturb. We're not going to cover them all in this class. We're going to cover the 3 that I think are most important and that most people use. This is how you turn it on and off. If it's green, it means you are in Do Not Disturb mode, which means I'm not getting calls or notifications on my phone because I'm teaching a class. After class, I could come into here and just touch that and turn Do Not Disturb off. Means I'll now get calls and notifications. I'll show you other ways to turn that on and off as well. One thing I like about Do Not Disturb is there's additional options. One is scheduled. I have mine to be in Do Not Disturb mode from 10 o'clock at night till 7 o'clock in the morning. That way I can put my phone on the bed table beside my bed and have access to it if I need it, but I'm not going to get awakened in the middle of the night by phone calls from telemarketers. Now, maybe I'm expecting a call after 10 o'clock. All I have to do is just touch here and turn that off for that night. Then that way I can take that call whenever it comes in. Then the next day I can turn it back on again. Now
Wade.
Uh-huh.
I'm a little nervous about using Do Not Disturb just in case somebody needs to reach me emergently.
Okay. The next thing I'm going to show you is one way around that. There's another one as well, but I'm going to scroll down just a little bit to where it says repeated calls. And this says if you turn this on, a second call from the same person within 3 minutes will not be silenced. So that way, typically if somebody calls you and then they call you back in a minute or less, in this case, 3 minutes or less, they think it's urgent and that call will come through. Now, if you don't want that to happen, you can turn this off and calls won't come through regardless. But this is a way not only for somebody that's calling you back because they think it's an emergency. This is also a trick you can let friends and family know. Hey, I do use Do Not Disturb occasionally, but if it's really an emergency, if I don't answer, call me right back. And I'll pick up and the second one will come through. So that's one way.
I see on my phone, it says why iPhone is locked and it has a tick. Why is that tick there?
It says what?
Under the heading, the schedule, the always. So why while iPhone is locked? So there's a tick there. Why is there a tick?
You must be, you're on a new one probably. Are you on 11?
12.
12, yeah. I don't have that option. Oh, here it is. It is. Well,
so why is there a tick on mine? Yours has always, but the next one is. So
what that one is, I'll explain that one. So it's a little confusing. This says always silence it. This one says only silence it if my phone is locked. So if my phone is not locked, the call would come through anyway. So it means like right now, if I had this set while phone is locked and somebody called me in the middle of class, that call would come through because my phone's not locked. That's why I have mine set to always. So whether my phone is locked or not, it's blocking calls.
So how do I get rid of that tick?
Just click the button right beside it and it'll move that check box up and down.
I have been trying, it's not working.
Just touch that line. If it doesn't work, you'll have to call Apple because that's how it should work and that's how mine's working. You touch the one that's not checked. So you can't
Okay.
touch it to turn it off. You have to touch it toggles between these two. So like to make mine
Okay.
change, I'm touching the row below the check mark. And to put it back, I touch the row above the check.
That works. So I guess I have to set it up like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I would recommend always, but that's an option.
So always, what does always mean again?
It always blocks calls, whether your phone is locked or not. Okay. And there's another thing you can do, and we cover that in a different class, but you can actually set up certain contacts to bypass Do Not Disturb. So their calls will always come through, even if you have Do Not Disturb turned on. But we cover that one in a different class. But again, a lot more flexibility with Do Not Disturb than just by using that switch on your phone is why I think this is the better way to go. Right. So we're going to go back to the main screen. And again, if you have questions, please stop me. I'm going to go over this fairly quickly. Ignore everything above this green line. This is the tool I use to show my screen on my computer so you can see it. So this is the first line on the phone. This is called the status bar. Well named because it shows you the status of things like whether you've got cellular coverage or not, whether your Wi-Fi is turned on or not. It has a little clock, which is fairly useless. These are little indicators. Remember, I showed you that Do Not Disturb is a quarter moon. This little quarter moon means that Do Not Disturb is turned on. That's another thing I like about Do Not Disturb. I can glance at my phone and see if it's on or off. With the switch, I can't tell. So this tells me Do Not Disturb is turned on. This tells me that I have an alarm set, etc. And then how much battery life you got remaining. That's the status bar. This is the home screen, and it's actually screens plural because there are multiple home screens. And you can swipe back and forth to go from screen to screen. These little dots at the bottom tell you what screen you're on. Like right now, you can see I'm on the first screen. If I go over a couple, the dot changes. I can tell I'm on the third of 5 screens. So that's really helps you keep track of where you are with all those screens. And this is called the dock. And this is where you typically want to put the apps you use the most because the dock is always there no matter what home screen you're on. I'm going to show you later in class how to move apps around, how to put apps into your dock, take things out of your dock so you can move all those around. We'll talk about those later. Now there are 2 other screens that you don't see, but they're there. The first one is called the Notification Center. And watch me first. I'm going to put my finger up at the upper left-hand corner of my phone and pull down. And this screen is going to come down. And that screen is called the Notification Center, as you can tell here. You've probably seen these notifications pop up.
Yes.
And go away. This is where they go when they go away. So it's not a bad idea if you haven't had your phone with you for a while, it's been on the charger and you've been in a different room, to check your notifications. You can see what's come in to your phone. If I look at those and I say, okay, I don't need to deal with any of those, they're just updates, let me know about classes. What I can do is to touch this X right here. It's going to change to the word clear. Touch clear. and it deletes all the old ones that I've already seen. It left one, do not disturb. This is another way that my phone keeps telling me that do not disturb is on. Whenever the notification screen comes up, it tells me. So lots of alerts that I have it on so I don't accidentally forget to turn it off.
Wade, how do you get rid of them again? Like I have 37 or something from CNN
Touch the X.
at the top. Okay.
Yeah. And it should change to the word clear.
Okay.
And then touch clear, and that'll clear out all the old ones.
But what if I only want to clear CNN and not New York Times?
There's no way that I know of to clear a single one.
Okay.
Well, if you touch it and go and look at it, it'll clear it.
Oh, okay.
So when you touch it, it'll take you there. If it's something you do want to look at, yeah.
Okay.
Then it takes it away once you've clicked on it. If you don't want to click on them, like a lot of mine are just weather updates and tell me that there's a class or something on my calendar, I just delete them all with that X.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and when you're done, you can just put your finger on there and swipe it off the top, or you can touch your home button and that will take it off. The other one that you can't see that's there is called the Control Center. This one is depending on which phone you've got, you do it differently. If you got an iPhone 8 or older, like I have, you swipe up from the bottom. If you watch the screen, you'll see me swipe it up from the bottom. If you're newer than an 8, you're going to swipe down from the top right. Notification Center is the top left. Control Center is the top right. You should get something that looks roughly similar to what you're seeing on my screen, not identical, but it'll be similar. So let me explain what this is. This is settings and apps that normally you would have to go and find somewhere to execute that now you can get to right from here. So if you need to put your phone in airplane mode, instead of going into settings and finding airplane mode and turning it on, you can just come right here and click airplane mode. If you need to turn your Bluetooth on or off, or your Wi-Fi on or off, or your cell coverage on or off, you can do it from here. There's that quarter moon again. If I want to turn do not disturb on or off, I can do it from here. So that's how I usually do it. If I want to turn it's on right now. If I want to turn it off, I would just swipe up, touch right here. If you look at the top of the screen, it tells me do not disturb is now off. Watch the top of my screen. I'm going to turn it back on again. And now it says do not disturb is on.
Wait, can I ask a quick question, please? You said the right was for bringing down the
Control Center.
Control Center. And the left was?
The Notification Center.
Oh, Notification Center. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, and so there's a number of things here. This will turn the brightness on and off. It's another one that comes in handy. So if you need to make your screen brighter or less bright, depending on if you're in the sun or in the dark room, you can do that from here as well. These are different apps that you can get to with just one swipe. I use my calculator a lot. And used to be, I would do this. I'd be swiping around looking for my calculator, trying to find it. Now what I do is I just swipe up and touch my calculator right there, and it opens my calculator. So even to me, it's much faster and easier. I love the Control Center. The ones I have is a flashlight, my calculator, a timer, a magnifying glass, an audio recorder, my camera, notebook, stopwatch. Yours are probably different. I will show you how to change them and pick the ones that you want. To do that, and you can either slide it down or up, depending on what model phone you've got, or just touch your home button to get rid of it. Back into settings. And I'll start from the top again, just so everybody can see where I am. So you're going to go down to that third block, and it's right under General, where we started, Control Center. So here are the ones that I'm currently using. There's the 8 that I have in my control center. Here are other controls that I could put in my control center. Now to add another one, I've got to get rid of one. There's a maximum of 8. So let's say I decide I don't want the voice memo. I don't really use that anymore. I just would touch the red circle here. It'll pop up a remove button. I can say remove. It hasn't deleted it. It just moved it back down here to the bottom section. Here it is. If I wanted to put any of these up in the top, I just touch the green plus. I'm actually going to put it back because I do want that one up there. I touch the green plus. It's now back up in my top section again. There's a lot of options. I don't know what most of these are, but what I'm going to do is an email is coming out after class. In that email, I'll include a link to a website that tells you what each one of those is and does. So you can read about them, test them out if there's something you think you want to use, instead of me going over all of them in class. So the main thing for now is to understand how to move things into and off of your control center. Questions?
Wade, mine doesn't have the minus or the plus. How do you go to that?
Are you in the control center in settings?
Yes.
What does yours look like? Does it say included controls?
No. Somebody has the airplane mode.
I think you're still into the settings, the control center. You're here.
Okay, so where do I go from there?
Okay, come back to settings. So I'm pointing the settings icon and open settings.
Okay, I got settings.
Okay, so scroll down to the third block where it says control center. See that one?
Not yet. The third one, control center.
It was the third section. Watch my screen. So it has your name at the top, and then there's a block and then there's another little block, and then there's general, and then control center is right under general.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, so that's where you get to them.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see it. I see it. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Quick question, Wade.
Uh-huh.
So I'm on that screen, and the 8 slots you get on the top, and then this is more controls, and there's a list. Is that a set list that Apple gives you to pick from, or can you add more to this list? If you have other.
It is given to you by Apple, so you can't add and delete from that list.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good question. Yeah, a lot of good things in there, though. Okay, so let's get to apps and widgets. That's one of the main topics here. So I'm going to move this over a little bit further. So it's going to be.
When you're on your settings, and if you touch the green thing to the left, and if it goes away, what does that mean?
It went up to the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now you can only have 8 at the top. So if you've got 8 up there, you can't move anything else up there without taking something off.
Okay, so the green plus, if you touch it, it disappears, it goes to the top. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So you're just toggling things back and forth from and the top means you see it on your control center. The bottom are things you can put on your control center.
All right.
Oh, actually, I've just tested something that I learned something new. You can put more than 8. So I just put a 9th one. So I don't know what the max is, but you can add more. I thought there was a limit of 8, but.
Now, the page that you're saying, where is the page that you're sending these to?
The control center, this one.
Okay.
And just swipe.
So where do you find the control center?
What model do you have?
I have the SE 220.
I'm not sure if that's newer or older.
It's new.
It's newer. Okay, upper right. Pull down from the upper right.
Okay.
Did it work?
No, when I pull down from the upper right, I get my home page. I'm at settings. And when you say take it to the control page, I don't know what control page you're talking about still.
We need, yeah. So you need to pull down from the upper right. You pull down from the upper left to get to the notification center. You pull down from the upper right to get to your control center. Now, if that doesn't work, try pulling up from the bottom.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm still in settings. I don't know where.
Oh, no, you're not. Get out of settings. Well, you could do it from settings, but it's something totally different. So go to your
Okay.
home screen.
All right.
And now try pulling down from the upper right. Okay. You may have to just keep playing with that. That pull down is a little tricky sometimes. So.
Okay. I got to a page that says search. Is that the screen you're talking about?
Now it should look like this.
Okay. Still can't find it, but
Yeah, keep playing with it. Try the bottom, because depending on the model, that SE, I'm not sure about. I know the 11 and 12, you pull down from the upper right. It may be pulling up from the bottom, but it's one of the two.
all right.
Keep trying and see if you can figure it out. And if not, let me
All
know
right.
in the class, but I don't know anything else. It's one of those two.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about apps and widgets. I mean, you know what apps are. So we're going to talk about rearranging apps. I'm going to come over here. And if you're on 14 or higher, you can just put your finger anywhere on the screen other than on an app and hold it for about a second, and they're going to start jiggling, and there'll be a minus sign beside them. This works. The next thing I'll show you works with any of them, but it's a little harder. So if you're on 13, what you do is just touch an app, and any app, but hold it. A menu is going to pop up, keep holding it, and then it'll start jiggling. And I think you're going to have a plus sign or an X sign instead of a minus sign. Either way, when it's jiggling, that means you can move them. So look at my screen. I'm going to take the OneNote and just put my finger on it and drag it down toward the bottom of the screen. Then I'm going to pull it back up here. So I've moved it from the upper left to the bottom right. I can take it and move it off the screen and put it on the next page. I'll do the same thing again. So all you have to do is just push it off the edge of the screen and it'll pop over to the screen beside it. So that's how you can move it screen to screen. We talked about the dock down here. So if I wanted to put OneNote down here in my dock, I can take this out of the dock and take OneNote and slide it down here and put it in the dock. So it's just like any other screen location. You can move things into and out of the dock. I'm going to put settings back down there again because that's where I like it. And it'll stop jiggling automatically after a period of time. But if you want to stop it, you can just touch anywhere on the screen and it'll stop them from jiggling.
Wait, if I would like to, on my Samsung phone, all my iPhones were alphabetical. This one doesn't do it. All my apps were alphabetical. So on the iPhone, it's not alphabetical. Could I use this same system to make it alphabetical?
I'll show you a way to get it alphabetical in just a minute. We're going to get there.
Oh, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so let me show you widgets. And we're going to go back into that jiggling thing again in case you're still having trouble with that. But I'm going to show you a widget, and this is a widget. This is my Weather Channel widget. Widgets are tied to an app. You have to have the app to get the widget. Every app doesn't have a widget, but you can't get a widget without an app. So here's the Weather Channel app. Here's the Weather Channel widget. What a widget does is it shows you information inside the app without opening the app. So I can see current temperature and conditions. I can see the forecast for the next 3 hours, for the next 3 days. I can see the radar without ever touching anything or doing anything other than just coming to that screen. Without this widget, what I would have to do was to touch the weather channel, wait for it to load, and it loads very slowly. And now I can see the current conditions. If I want to see the hourly conditions, I'd have to touch here. If I want to see the daily, I'd have to touch here. If I want to see the radar, I'd have to touch down here. So I'd have to do 4 things to see what I could see just from the widget. Everybody see how that's working? I'll show you how to get them in a minute, but everybody see the value of that widget. I'll show you a couple more here. Here's a notes widget. It shows me notes that I have, the top 5 notes, without having to open the Notes app. And one more, here's top news. I can see what's the late breaking news without ever opening the news app.
Sorry, where do I get the widgets? Where do I find the widgets?
Yep, we're going to do that now. So,
oh, I see. Okay, sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay. So what we're going to do is the same thing we did to move the apps around. We're going to touch in the screen somewhere until it starts jiggling. And we're going to touch the plus sign at the top. Again, if you don't have 14, you're not going to be able to see any of this. You just watch what and see what's coming once you upgrade. It'll be at the upper left or the upper right, depending on your phone model, but it'll be at the top of the screen. Touch the plus sign. That opens your widget search. Now it'll show you the widgets right on the screen, so you can just kind of scroll through them and see which ones you want. Again, every app doesn't have a widget, but lots of them do, and more of them are getting them all the time. So let's say I want to get the widget for the stock market. So I'm just going to touch stock market right here. And it brings me to a page where I need to select the size of the widget. You can see most of them only come in 3 sizes. This one has 4, but most of them come in small, medium, and large. Large is what the weather channel was. The other 2 I showed you were medium. I'm going to select a small just to show you how that works. All right, stop doing that. So I get the one that I want showing up on the screen, and then just touch add widget down here at the bottom. And we'll do this a couple of times. If you're not getting all this, I'll show it to you again. But there it is. So now I've got my stock market down here. I can see all 3 indices, what the current state is without having to open the stocks app. And you can see here's the small, here's the medium, here's the large.
Wade, can you move that widget around like an app to like your front screen or whatever?
You absolutely can. So if I want to put this over here on this other screen, and it's not going to fit there.
Oh, okay.
But yes, you can move it like a, you can an app.
Like an app, okay. What if you accidentally tapped on a app and you got a widget you didn't want? How do you get rid of it?
Good question. We're gonna, because I'm gonna look at this and I'm gonna say I like this, but I can't see very much. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna get rid of that one. So I just touch and hold it for about a second until the menu pops up, and then say remove widget.
Okay.
And it gives you a confirmation. Do you really want to remove it? So you confirm, yes, you want to remove it. You didn't delete the app. That app is still there. I just deleted the widget.
Okay, thank you.
What I want to do, okay, I'm going to add another one in a second. But before I do that, I want to show you one other thing. So hopefully I'm starting to convince you that widgets are nice things to have, but you can tell they take up a lot of space. What you can do is something called stacking widgets. And if you look at my screen, I actually have 2 widgets. I actually have 3 widgets. I forgot to still have that one in there in the same place, or occupying the same place on the screen. Think about them like cards in a stack. I have 3 widgets sitting in the same space here. And so I just flip through to go from one to the next.
How do you flip?
I just put your finger on it and move it down. See where how it's moving?
Oh, you scroll it. Okay.
Yeah, just scroll down. So let me show you quickly how to put one, a new one in there.
Where did you go to get the widgets in the first place?
Okay, yeah, we're gonna go there again because
Okay,
it takes a couple, 3 tries for everybody to get this. It's a little cryptic. So I'm gonna get it jiggling again. Touch the plus again. And again, your plus may be over here, depending on what model you got, but it's at the top. And there's all the widgets. So let's say I want to put the map widget down there. I want the map widget. So I just touch the one that I want. I just kind of scroll through the list and touch the one I want. So I'm going to touch that one. And it gives me to my size selector. You know, this is where you just put your finger and slide back and forth, or you can touch down here beside the dots. And they're small, medium, and large. So if you're going to stack them, they've got to be the same size. So the other 3 were this size, what I'm calling medium. So I need to pick one the same size. So I'm going to say add that widget. Just going to touch the blue bar at the bottom. And there's my map. Now to put that in the stack, I'm just going to drag it down over, just like I'm dropping a new card into this stack of cards. I'm just going to drag it down there, drop it on the stack. And now I've got 4 widgets in the stack. So it's just like picking up a card and dropping it on the top of a deck of cards. Everybody get that? Okay. Keeping an eye on the time, and we're starting to get lower time. And I do want to take you to the app library because that's the other really important part of iOS 4. This indicator says that I'm in the last screen and I am in the last home screen. But if I keep swiping, I'm going to go all the way to the first home screen just to make this obvious. So I'm at the first screen, second one, third. I'll just keep working my way through. When I get to the last one, if I keep swiping, it brings up the app library. Every app that you have installed is in your app library. Apple puts them into folders for you. If I want to execute, open any one of these apps, if I want to open Facebook, I just would touch Facebook right there. It opens Facebook. If I want to open one that's in these little ones, I have to touch this block. So I'm going to put my finger right there and touch. It opens the whole folder. Now I can open any app in the folder. To close the folder, I just touch on the folder and it closes the folder. There's 4 ways to get to the apps. All of your apps are in the library. This is one way you can go into it by folder. I think it was Annette was asking. I'm going to touch up here in this search bar. Watch my screen. It changes to an alphabetical list of apps. Here's all of my apps alphabetically. If I want to find WhatsApp, and it's way down, and I have lots of apps. So I don't want to scroll all the way down. I can just touch the letter over here. Oops. And okay, there is. So I touch the W, and here's WhatsApp. If I want to open it, I just touch it. So that's the second way. You can search alphabetically for the app you want to open. Now the third way is maybe I'm all the way at the top, up in the A's, and I don't want to scroll all the way down, and I have trouble touching these little letters, because I do. I can just touch in the search bar and type in WH for WhatsApp. 2 letters is almost all you ever need to enter, and it'll find you the one you're looking for. So that's the third way to find an app. Search from the app library. The last one is my favorite one. I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to go back to the home screen, my first home screen. I very seldom leave my home screen unless I'm looking for a widget. Because if I want an app and it's not in my home screen, I can just pull down. I can put my finger on the screen and pull down. It starts to get fuzzy, and then it opens up. It gives me Siri suggestions. And this is the apps you've used most often and most frequently. More often than not, what I'm looking for is in here. But if it's not, I'm looking for WhatsApp and WhatsApp isn't in here. I can just search from here, WH. There's my WhatsApp. I click here. So I can find and open any app on my phone without ever leaving this screen. Everybody get that? That's important.
Yes, but what did you call that screen you went to search?
Oh, when I pull it down, touch it and pull it down.
Oh, okay. That's all you have to do, huh? Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, and it brings up this series suggestions, which, like I said, shows you the ones you use most often. But if it's not in there, then just put the first two letters and it'll find it through the search without ever doing this, flipping through the screens looking for stuff. In fact, you don't have to have the apps on your screen at all. So for example, I'm going to take Huffington Post off of my home screen. I'm going to touch Huffington Post. It brings up the menu. I'm going to say remove app. I got two options. I can delete the app. I don't want to do that. I want to remove it from my home screen. Don't want to delete it. I just want to take it off my home screen. It's gone. It's not really gone. Again, I'm going to just touch and pull down to bring my search up. Type HU for Huffington Post. There it is. It's not gone. It's just not on my screen. Why I want to do that is to free up more space for widgets. So you can get rid of them. You can notice I've gotten rid of most of my apps. Most of the ones I have in here are for classes I teach, so I want to keep them on the screen. But I use it mostly for my my widgets. Now, if I change my mind and I want Huffington Post back on my screen again, I can go back to my app library because I know it's in there and go find it. There's Huffington Post. I just put my finger on it and drag it off the screen to the left and put it back on my home screen. I'll go put it back where it was. It was over here. And I'm back where I started. So that's how you can clear up home screen space for your widgets. Find all your apps. You know, I put the ones I use the most on my home screen. Everything else, I do the pull down and search.
Quick question, Wade.
Uh-huh.
I was busy creating my widget and I missed how you stack them. Can you?
And I'll show you one thing I didn't show you. Say I decided this one doesn't make sense to be in here after all. You can touch the widget until for a second till the menu pops up. You can edit the stack. So I'm going to take maps out of the stack. I'm just going to touch maps and slide it over to the left, and it opens up the delete button and delete it. That's now out of my stack. I'm going to put something else in there to show you how to stack
Thank you.
it.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Let's just grab, oh, it doesn't matter what I grab. We'll grab Gmail. And I'm going to add that widget. So all you have to do is think about the deck of cards. Here's my deck of cards. I'm just going to take this new one, put it on top of the deck of cards and drop it.
Okay, so when you have more than one widget, the stack already, they already show on the same screen, so you can stack them.
Right.
Okay, great. Thanks, Wade.
Sure. All right. So that closes the loop in terms of freeing up space for widgets and by getting rid of apps and then finding your apps through one of those 4 ways. And I have run way over time here. It is 2 minutes to the end of the hour, so we are going to have to close down here and let me quickly go through the closing. I do want to thank you for attending, though. This is the end of the official class. I hope you enjoyed the class and learned a lot of things about your phone. There are 2 related classes. There's an iPhone personal safety features. These are talking about physical safety, not security. And there's an iPhone tips and tricks class, which really just goes over, as the name suggests, lots of tips and tricks no particular theme, just assorted tips and tricks. Quickly, there will be an email coming out after class. The email is going to have some links in it. I mentioned several of them already. As I also have links in there to those related classes. In case you want to sign up for one of those classes, you can do it straight from this email without having to go and search for it. If you want to share this class with somebody else, tell a friend about it. You can post a link on Facebook, or you can send a link via email. There'll be several links, including a link to give feedback, which opens our feedback form, only 2 questions. And the last link is view schedule, which takes you to our website where you can book another class. And again, if you probably heard me say this before, but I think the fastest way to find something is to search for it up here in the search menu. If you're looking for other iPhone classes, type iPhone. There are also some great picture taking classes. Here's tips for taking great photos with your iPhone. There's the iPhone tips and tricks class and the iPhone personal safety class I mentioned. So if you're interested in any of those classes, you can just click from here. It will take you to that page where you can book the class. And when you book it, you can put it on your calendar. You can also invite a friend. This is something new we've added. You just click here to invite a friend and type their email in here and click here to send them a link to that class you're going to be taking. Or you can copy the link and paste it in your own email. Quickly, in the 2 seconds I got left, the other thing, in addition to searching for classes, you can search for a guide. If there's a guide that you like their classes, just put their name here and hit enter, and it'll show you all the classes they're going to be teaching for the next 2 weeks in chronological order. So you can scroll through, come back next week, the list will be different because most of us teach different classes. So the list of class is just showing what's on the schedule for the next 2 weeks. Okay, thank you for attending. We are at the end of the hour. I hope you enjoyed the class and learned some things about your iPhone, and hope I see you again in another class real soon. Bye now. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.